question I would like answered. Why are you called Black and Blue films?
Why?
Black and Blue was a script that Martin wrote some time ago about the life of the gangster, Mad Frank Fraser.
Oh.
And the title was fantastic. And so when we were thinking about what we call it, it was just kind of no-brainer. And it sounded a little bit gangster, a little bit horror, a little bit kind of the things that we do. So.
Well, we both like black films, we both like blue films.
I was going to say that gives a kind of impression of what you're about, really. A bit of fighting and a bit of...
Yeah, no, it was an original script. I still really want to make one about Frankie Fraser's life. And I came up with that, and that was right at the beginning, wasn't it, when we first met. And Jonathan was trying to get me on another film. And I said, hang on, here's one I've already made. So let's do this as well. And
hang on.
We ended up, we never ended up making it.
Sorry, Martin, I think we've got the mics working.
We ended up, we never made it in the end, but I hope we make it one day. The time was good.
Can you hear us a little bit better?
Yeah.
I think this one's working, just got a red light on.
We'll just use that one. I'll just project. I'll tell you what. Okay, even though I've got a sore throat. Mad Frankie Fraser. I met him briefly once. Character. The best way to describe him is, I went to this event where he was giving a talk, and it was...
Hello? Excellent. Calm down now. Sorry, this is me taking over now, isn't it? But just a tiny little anecdote. I went to this event once where Mad Frankie Fraser, who some of the younger guys may not know was around at the time of the Cray twins in the 60s. I don't think they called him Mad Frankie for nothing. But my anecdote is simply that we had this room full of people waiting for this guy to come in. The atmosphere had been built up, and I thought, what's it going to be like, you know? And he appeared at the door, and he's quite a small, kind of quite old guy now. But bloody hell, as he got presents, he seemed to glide across the floor like a shark. And I suppose what I'm getting to is, let's go back a little bit before we get on to Black and Blue. Like with the Craze and that, you're associated with kind of the tough guy, gangster films and, you know, EastEnders and stuff like that. And obviously you must be drawn to that kind of thing with, you know, Black and Blue script. So is that one of the reasons... Sorry, my throat's going down. I've got a microphone. This is typical. Black and Blue films, you're about doing genre stuff like the gangsters and maybe a bit of horror.
Well, I mean, I like films in general. I like films in general, whether they're horror, thriller. I mean, for me, the best films are films that I kind of have to work out the ending. And if I'm going to spend an hour and a half watching it, I don't want to be told the ending in the first 20 minutes. You know, I think what we suffer from now is, in the genre of horror films especially, is that horror films tend to be how many ways can you kill somebody within 90 minutes. And we've forgotten about the whole idea of it being a kind of thriller as well, emotional ride. And in the way that we used to make them, like Turn the Screw, or Single White Female, where it's kind of keeps you on the edge, and it's all about making the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, as well as just being as gory as it can be in 3D. And for me, that doesn't kind of satisfy me anymore. That whole horror film genre at the moment, you have to be careful that it doesn't just become something that you pick up alongside your Chinese takeaway on a Friday night to watch with your kids.
Yeah,
and it's got to have more than that. When you watch a movie like The Omen, it's a fantastic movie. Even The Exorcist. The Exorcist has got great effects in it, but it's really sparse. You know, the whole idea of The Exorcist and The Omen is about making the hair stand up on the back of your neck. And for me, that is a perfect movie. Whether it's a thriller, whether it's a horror or whatever, for me it has to do that.
Yeah, totally agree with you. I mean, the thing about genre, one of the things on the website, you know, well, mission statement, whatever, you wish to call it. You say you're kind of genre-led, which is kind of like, you know, horror, sci-fi, fantasy, whatever. And a lot of people tend to kind of look down on that, especially kind of in Britain, maybe, perhaps in Europe, whereas in America, where they make big, successful films, they're not quite as snobby, are they? So just a question for Jonathan. Is that something that's propelled you to create Black and Blue films, to do something without shame in a way, you know, that let's do something enjoyable?
Yeah, I think so, and I think, you know, we have the best heritage of making horror films in the world, you know, with companies like Hammer making so many movies. And I saw a gap in the market for a genre-led mini studio that made a certain type of film for a certain price, aimed at a certain market. And that doesn't mean you can't be clever with it sometimes, but you know, we also recognise that increasingly our business is video. It's not just cinema. You know, a lot more people see films now on video than they do in theatres. And in America, that's just accepted. You know, straight to video is not a term of kind of insult, whereas it is slightly here.
Well, especially if you're making films for £150,000, £200,000, then getting it straight to video is an achievement. It's not something that you should be embarrassed about. It's something that you should be patted on the back for, because getting a film from start to finish and actually dragging it over the finish line is something that should be clapped. It should be.
Well, we don't do that in this country. It's not applauded. You know, we look down on the film industry. Really. It's not even an industry in this country. It's really a hobby for people like us. You know, in America it's a proper business, whereas here it's really not.
Yeah, we were just saying, Martin was saying that when some of you saw The Dead Zone, to see it on the big screen is fantastic. But when The Dead Zone was made, that was kind of just at the start of the video revolution, wasn't it? Whereas now we're more aware that a lot of people, and I hold my hand up now and say that quite often I don't go to the cinema, not because I don't like films, but because there's too many people in the audience not watching the film.
Yeah.
So now, these days, most people have got either a decent sized TV or a wall screen or wall sized TV. So what you're doing now is kind of aim at that market in a way.
Yeah, and also, you know, I grew up in that video era, so for me, getting a film from the video shop was just as exciting as going to see one at the cinema. So I didn't see it as a step down, I saw it as a kind of parallel. And often, you know, releasing films is really expensive. So for us, we get to make the films that we like sometimes, and they come straight to video, and that's their market. There's a lot of ego in the British film industry. A lot of people want to see films at the cinemas just so they can see their faces up on screen. But we kind of don't do that. So, yeah. But if we make a good one, like Stalker, then we want it to go to the cinema. Unfortunately, that won't be that good.
And Stalker's actually got a cinema release, is it next week?
Yes, it has. It comes out on the 17th. It's showing here later.
Is this the actual first screening?
It's the very first public screening ever. Yes.
Wow. So you lucky people. How many people are coming to Stalker tonight?
Oh, great. What time's it
Okay.
on?
He's not got his hand up. Why are you not coming?
What time's it on?
8. Is it? Oh, 8.
5 to 8.
5 to 8.
Okay, great. Enjoy it. But like I say, you know, I mean, that's my thing with Stalker as well. I wanted to make it is something that gave you the creeps. It wasn't just about death and destruction and, you know, how many different ways you can kill someone. I wanted a film that gave you the creeps.
And it's not quite a remake, is it? You've adapted a...
Well, what we did, Jonathan had the rights, when we first met, Jonathan had the rights to an old 70s kind of horror film, right? Called
House on Straw Hill.
House on Straw Hill. And Jonathan came to me and he said, well, let's make a remake of it. But the more I looked at it, and it's kind of disappointing as a movie, and the more I looked at it and tried to do something with it, there was only a kind of a really small seed I could take from it and to rework it. So really what you see in Stalker doesn't represent the original House on Straw Hill at all. But there is a seed of it that we've taken and we've replanted.
That's kind of why we've said it's inspired by that.
Yeah.
Rather than based.
Yeah.
Was that one of the original video nasties I read? Was it
Yeah, it was the only British film on the video nasty list. Why God insane and stupid.
Yeah, if you saw it today, you would believe that it's still on the Jonathan from Carmen.
I watched it.
With my
Last
brother.
night.
You can catch it up on the internet somewhere.
It's very good. I was hoping it would be very good. No disrespect, but I was thinking, let's watch it. And I was thinking, I hope it's good because I don't want to sit here and not say it's good.
Yeah.
But it was very, very good. And it was very Hitchcock. There was a lot of point of view, camera angles. And I was going to ask you, is Hitchcock maybe one of your influences or
Yeah, of
something that you
course.
like to
I mean,
emulate?
it's everybody's influence, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, I love Hitchcock stuff, but Karma Magnet, we were pleased with that, and I think it was because we made it a successful little short that people believed in us and invested into the second one.
Can I just bring Billy in on this? He's over there in the shadows.
I'm a
not
junior
Billy.
member.
Yeah, just to ask, we all know Billy's face from The Bill, isn't it? EastEnders, Performance, fantastic movie. Mac Vicker. What was I going to say? Yeah, so how did you come on board and how did you see everything working as a film company?
I was part of another company. It broke up. We didn't get on, so we quit the show. And I was actually playing, as you'll see, one of the parts in Stalker.
Yeah.
And Jonathan asked if I'd be interested in joining Black and Blue. And I was intrigued by the name, Black and Blue. And people often ask how I got this name. I usually say it's because when we were going in to do the deals, they used to beat me black and blue, and we'd come out there looking terrible. So hence Black and Blue. But yeah, and I thought, yeah, and I like the two people that were Jonathan and Martin, and so we went from there. And since then we've done Insert and several other films.
Prolific, that's what you are, isn't it? Prolific. How many have you done, mate? 10?
10, yeah.
10 in 3 years. That's good going.
But it's good, for the current market. And it's a struggle. It's a struggle to start a film and to get it over the finish line. And sometimes you drag it, kicking and screaming over the finish line. Yeah, and you have to stick with it.
How's it gone so far then, from your initial blueprint, pun intended, black and blueprint? You must have had a 3-5 year plan or something. Is it kind of going more or less in your
Script, we make that as we go along. It's really not about something.
It's actually inventing itself. Every day we wake up and there's something new.
I think the thing is, we all love film as much as you guys do. And if you love it and if it's your hobby, then everything you do is exciting. There isn't a plan as, okay, let's make this movie so we can then go on and make that movie. And it isn't like that. It's a script will come through the door. And obviously the more successful you become, the more films you make, the more scripts do come through. And one will come through and you say, that's it, let's go and make that. And that's where the story begins.
I suppose a lot of people would think, you do such well-known faces, television, film, whatever, music. Why on earth take on the extra hard work of producing and the business side of it? Have you found it a hard slog? And do you wish you hadn't started? Or?
No, because he does it.
Oh,
That's quite true, actually.
Clever. Yeah. I mean, if I was sat in the middle of you two, I'd do what you were saying.
No, Jonathan's very good at running the whole business day to day. It's great.
Have we got the montage?
Yeah, so I will make a call.
What do you mean, just a minute?
I will make a call to projection and I'll do it.
Okay, let's carry on improvising.
Don't tell me